So it's October 4th, 2020. This is the 4th year for this garden. Things are starting to get mature here. A couple of mature plants here. And you can see it's just in full bloom. Seasons are starting to change. Fall stuff's starting to come out. Summer stuff's going away. See the little fig over there, Celeste fig. It's the 3rd year for the fig too. Started to get figs off of it this year, pretty excited. Mexican feathergrass is going to be wrapped up into this. I'm going to take these Russian sages to Houston. Russian sages, I really like that color, but they just don't do well without, they need more water, I think. Milkweed here, and mealy blue sage here as well, just kind of giving it a little bit of shade. Salvia Gregii over there, staple. And mountain laurels here. These mountain laurels are a screen. You probably can't see it, but this is designed to be a screen. I live at home and work at home, and whenever I take breaks, this is my walk area back there. So I want to have a screen back there. You can kind of tell it goes downhill. I want to have a screen back there so that I can walk and think and do whatever I want to do. So you can kind of tell there's a screen. Esperanza here. This is fire bells, I think is what they call it. And this is about as big as it's going to get. This Esperanza's 5 years old now, 4 years old. It was one of the first plants that I put out here. It was a marker plant for me so I could measure the rest of the garden. And it's doing excellent. We've got 5 of them, 5 of these guys. And during August, there's about a 3-week period during August where these are the only thing in bloom. That's it. You can kind of see here the mealy blue sage is down there. I want to have this whole area right in here be mealy blue sage, but for some reason right here they just don't do well. They're doing fine over here. They're doing fine over here. Just not in the middle. But we're going to line it up. These are 3 different kinds of Lantana. Lantana's really putting on a show this year. So I have 7 Lantanas here, and one of them is a little bit different. This is the native Lantana, and you can see the flower there. Really cool flower. The Latin name is Horrida because this stuff smells terrible, but it doesn't smell bad unless you like put it in your hands and crush it. Here's another kind of Lantana. The only way you can tell is from the bloom. You can see there's that red, really deep red bloom. And so I have watched that really deep red one a lot. And the butterflies and stuff, they don't really go to that one as much. And then the other Lantana show is the New Gold right here. That's one plant, just so you know. This thing has got to be 8 feet long. It's huge. I had no idea that one New Gold Lantana would get that big. Look at it though. It's all up into the Viburnum. I mean, it's all, man, it is huge. I had no idea they would get that big. It's wider than these guys over here. Oh, it was a hummingbird. So this is sensitive briar. I do love the way the sensitive briar looks and acts, and you can see when they're in bloom, they have these cool little puff balls things, but the coolest part about this plant is that it has a reflex. So you'll be able to see it close. You can see right up here, those leaves are open. Right down here, those leaves are closed. See that leaf right there? Right there. Purple coneflower, done for the year. I did see some coneflowers that were still in bloom, but yeah, mine are done in spring, so I don't mind that the lantanas kind of creep up there, fill them in. Zinnias here. This stuff is never in full bloom, but it's always in constant bloom. This is about as full bloom as I've ever seen it. It kind of looks nice. I mean, you can see it. Looks nice. You see bees over there. So this is my favorite plant, a Texas sage. This is a Rio Bravo Texas sage. Everybody loves this plant. I think it's my least favorite of the Texas sages. I mean, it has nice flowers and everything. But the foliage is green, which is, I like the silver foliage. This is another Texas sage over there, right there. And you can see the silver foliage there. Green. Silver. And I like the silver. There's the other Esperanzas back here in the back there. And there's 4 of them back there, 3 here and then 1 over here. And the one over there, you can't quite see it because it's I had to move it this year, so it's first year being there. However, there's 5 of them total back there, and seriously, for about 3 weeks out of the year, it's the only thing in bloom in this whole garden. Canna Lilies. So this is my focal point right here. Actually, I need to put some more Canna Lilies behind the Texas sage over there, and so these are the only ones that came up. Oh, I put in about 40 or so here. Yes, last year I put in like 50, and I've got like 5 of them coming up. I'm not doing something right with the cannas, so that's on me. Anacostia Orchid. This is, remember I told you this is a screen? So this is part of the screen right here. This is an Anacostia Orchid, and it is native to northern Mexico and the Pecos River Valley in Texas. You can see how open it is, and in the spring it'll have these lovely white blossoms. It also attracts butterflies like crazy. So love the Anacostia Orchid. I've got 2 more growing down there, and I'm going to try and transplant some of them. These are California Giant Zinnias, and the California Giant Zinnias look wonderful. I literally got seeds, and I wanted some annual color right up here, like right here, and so I just put seeds right here and whatever came up. They don't really have much room to grow. You can see that this sensitive briar is growing well out into the curb. See, look. See how far the sensitive briar is growing out into the curb? And so these guys are right on the edge there. They don't have a lot of room. Greg's Mistflower plays very nicely in here. And in fact, this new gold lantana is going to get moved. I do love this new gold lantana, but I do not see any butterflies come to this plant. I see butterflies all over these plants. I see them mostly here. I don't see them on the red flower. Oh, there's a hummingbird over there. 2 of them actually chasing each. Wow. 3, 4 hummingbirds. Holy crap, there's 4 hummingbirds in the garden right now. Well, that's what this is for. This is a hummingbird and a butterfly garden. Regardless, each one of these plants is specifically planned for hummingbirds and butterflies. This guy attracts none. There is nothing that lands here. In fact, if you watch the butterflies, there'll be butterflies here. They'll go over to the California Giants. They'll go over to the Salvia Gregii, the pink stuff back there. They'll go over to the Zexminia. They'll go over to the Esperanza. They don't touch the new gold. So I think the new gold is for show, but I don't really think it's a butterfly plant. So this guy's has to go. And I'm going to replace it with Greg's Mistflower, which you can see, man, the Greg's Mistflower has just taken off. This is butterfly crack right here. You want to put something in to attract butterflies. This is an aster, and it blooms, all the time. This is full bloom in the fall. You can see the nice full bloom fuzziness, but it blooms all the time. Let's not kid ourselves. This thing here, this little diminutive evergreen here, I bought just to have a evergreen screen that was a native, Sandanqua viburnum, and I wanted to see what kind of pollinators. Man, everybody needs to have a couple of viburnums in their yard, because this is one of the very first things that comes out in the spring. And the amount of bees that are around this thing in spring, it's like a hive. I mean, it's like there's got to be 300 bees around this thing in the spring, and there's nothing else in bloom yet. The blooms are really small, and this thing only get like 6 feet tall, but it is, I'm going to get more, because this is definitely a pollinator plant. Definitely. Moving over here, my favorite, Texas sage. This is my favorite Texas sage, and you can really see the silver contrast here. This is one plant, and this is an El Dorado Texas sage. So it is the most silver one that I have found yet, and I really like the clash of silver and green. So holding down the border over here, we got some garlic chives. I planted these guys from seed. So deer used to sleep right here in my yard. Actually, I'm sorry, they slept over here, and it kind of went like this. Well, so what I did is garlic chives grow really well here, so I got a package of seeds, and before it rained, I would just sprinkle seeds on the ground where the deer were sleeping, and as soon as the garlic chives had like 2 leaves coming up, they were gone, man. So very interesting how well the garlic chives have worked at keeping the deer out. So garlic chives holding down the border here. This was my very first Salvia Gregii. Actually, I'm going to take that with me to Houston. This is, I'd have to say, honestly, it's my least favorite Salvia Gregii, but this is the native. The pink one right here is the native, and it's the non-hybridized version. So I want some natives on the property. I think that the butterflies and stuff are used to the natives more. I do see them all over this plant all the time, so I'm going to take this bad boy to Houston. Yeah, what else we got here? Oh, yes. Mystic Spire's Sage. So the Mystic Spire's Sage is just a magnet for pollinators. I mean, if you want to take up some space and you don't have time to water stuff, this guy, there's 3 of them right here. You can kind of see how big it is. There's 3 of them here. It's got to be 8 feet wide. These are first year plants. These were cuttings that I took last year. They're first year plants. I mean, they're going to get giant compared to what they are now. But they just bloom like this all the time. They require no care. You can see the bees on them right now. I'm trying to be still so you can see the bees on them. And just look at the beautiful flowers. It's beautiful. These two together look like a sunset to me. A sunset over water. So coming over here, this is a garden fail. So I wanted to grow blackberries, but I hate thorns, and I thought I could make it work. But so I have smoothies every morning, and the amount of blackberries that came out of here was equivalent to like 2 smoothies. I had 4 blackberry plants here, and I got like, I don't know, 3 or 4 handfuls of blackberries all year. Not even worth it. This is my artichoke patch, and since I'm getting rid of the Russian sage, I'm going to have even a little bit more room over there for artichokes. So there used to be 5 artichokes here. I think I'm going to try and squeeze in 6. And I'm going to put in 3 more in a different spot. So this is the side garden right now. And I guess I can show the path. The path is new. Yeah. So this is a drainage area. I can't really make a windy or narrow path. I need a wide path here. When it starts flash flooding, this is the area that water runs down. So I tried to slow it down quite a bit. And you can see this is right here, and there's drainage right here. You can see all that stuff. But yeah. Now the persimmon. So this persimmon tree leans quite a bit, and it was falling over, legit falling over. So what I did is I took a branch on each side. These branches had come off of the tree, and I dug a hole about 2 feet deep and cut the bottom off of a 5-gallon bucket. So I made a sleeve, and then I filled the bottom of the hole with 1/4-inch river rock and sand to make a permanent drain. And put this in there, put the sleeve over top, and then filled the sleeve with sand. So just filled with sand, and the bottom has 4 inches to 6 inches of 1/4-inch rock and sand in the bottom. So there shouldn't be any problem draining. You can kind of see this one's leaning over here. Man, I really didn't want to do it like that, but I didn't really have a choice. There's a couple of huge roots over there, and that was the only hole I could find where I could actually connect to the tree. So yeah, that's quite a bit of a brace over there. It is what it is. This one over here is solid. This guy here is super solid. Look how big that is. That is a substantial branch, and it's holding on. And then down there is all the sand. Same thing here. All the sand down there. You can see it start to split right there a little bit. Might have to do something about that. We'll wait till something happens. But, I mean, you can tell that it's definitely holding up the tree. This tree is just fully leaning over. The arborist tells me this is about a 150-year-old persimmon. So there you have it. Sideyard, October 2020.